Through a few different things. So I have an older brother who has autism and some severe psychiatric disorders. So I had an exposure to it at a very young age. He's older than me, so I pretty much had that exposure most of my life, all my life. And so growing up with him and really seeing the experiences he went through as a black male with severe autism and schizophrenia, how he was treated by police officers and friends and family, it really made me get more interested in what black men go through when they struggle with mental illness or struggle with mental health issues. So that was my initial kind of bringing into mental health. And then my own experiences with depression, as well as just being into the literature. So being an MSW student here in Michigan, reading a lot of the literature and feeling like a lot of it missed the experiences of black men specifically, didn't answer those questions thoroughly. That really intrigued me about how we are getting those answers and where we're going to get the answers from. So originally, the principal investigator on this project emailed me very early into my MSW career, and I actually turned her down initially because I was working on some other projects and I didn't feel like I had the time to commit to the project. But as I went through my master's program, I got more interested in mental health of black men. Initially, I was interested in like mental health from prison systems. But I got more interested in specifically black men and younger black men, and then eventually adolescents. And so one of my friends was already on the project and kind of plugged me into it. And so when I got into the doc program, I'm a second year doc student in sociology and social work. When I got into the doc program, I talked to that professor and my friend, and they formally plugged me into YB Men. I think it's important because the conversations don't happen. There's a lot of initiatives to work with black men. There's a lot of organizations and groups that have that intention of helping black men and the disparities and things that affect them. But the conversation about mental health and masculinity don't happen in those spaces. We don't critically assess how traditional roles of masculinity socialized into young boys become detrimental to them when they become men. The lack of emotional openness, I guess, the lack of awareness of your own emotions and mental health is a big issue for black men. Myself as a black man, things I didn't question myself, especially in undergrad where I was struggling with my own mental health and things like depression and anxiety. I didn't question those things. I didn't know to question those things. My own views on social issues, social norms, I didn't know to question those things. And so in these interventions, these programs, until we start having that conversation about what masculinity is, what it means to be a man, what it means to be a black man, we're missing a big part of it. I think it's again that conversation. I think so. I'm a big online person. A lot of times when these tragedies happen around the country with black men being killed or something like that happening, I'll get online and I'll see my female cousins who are posting a lot about how nervous they are about their sons and their fathers and their brothers. But very rarely do I see my black male friends talking about how they feel about it. And so one day I remember I wrote one of my cousins and she was talking about how she was afraid for her father, who was a larger black man from a lower income area. She was concerned about his interaction with police, and I asked her, have you talked to him about it? Have you mentioned to him and asked him how he felt about it? And then I realized that I haven't even asked him as a black man. And so I wrote him on Facebook and ended up writing a large thing on Facebook and had a bunch of black men on to respond. And really, I realized that as black men, we don't have that conversation with one another. How are you feeling today? What's going on? What are you thinking? Especially with things going on in the world. Yeah, I think we're early in this stuff. We're early in understanding how masculinity affects black men. As much as we would love to say we have all this knowledge now about it, we really don't have as much as we need to know. And it's important for fathers, I'm a father myself, for other black men to be aware that we're still ourselves trying to deal with how we were socialized. And while dealing with that, we have to also be responsible for other black men out there and talk to them about how they're feeling, what kind of things they're going through, how they were raised, and see how those things are affecting them. So we're early in this stuff, but it's something that's growing, and we have to, outside of the scholarly stuff, socially address it.